The rain hammered the fire escape like fists on a coffin lid. But it was the soft click of the window latch that yanked me from sleep, heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. I bolted upright in the tangle of sheets, the glow of my phone clock mocking me at 2:17 a.m., and there he was, framed in the jagged maw of the broken pane, dripping shadow and regret. "Justin?" Carson breathed, his voice a ghost from the grave we'd both dug. "Don't scream. It's me." I didn't scream. Couldn't. The air thickened with the scent of wet asphalt and the cologne he still wore. The one I'd bought him on our last anniversary. Back when love felt like a promise instead of a punch to the gut. My studio apartment in Brooklyn. This shoebox I'd crammed full of half-read novels and unopened mail since he left, suddenly felt too small for the both of us. Carson, the man who'd stolen my heart and then torched it on his way out the door a year ago, wasn't here for a reunion. He was here to take what little I had left. He moved like he owned the place, which he kinda did once, his boots tracking mud across the rug we'd picked out together at that flea market in Red Hook. I grabbed the baseball bat from under the bed, the one I'd kept for nights like this, when the city's underbelly slithered too close. "What the hell, Carson? You break in like some two-bit crook, and I'm supposed to what? Offer you a beer?" My voice cracked, betraying the storm inside. He froze mid-step, his green eyes catching the sliver of streetlight that sliced through the blinds. Those eyes. God, they used to light up rooms. Now they just looked haunted, hollowed out by whatever hell he'd crawled through to get here. He raised his hands, palms out, like I was the one holding the gun. "I need money, just a couple hundred. Enough to get out of this mess." His words hung there, heavy as the humidity clinging to his soaked hoodie. "Couple hundred?" I laughed, bitter and sharp, the sound echoing off the peeling wallpaper. Last time I'd seen him, he'd been striding out of my life with a duffel bag and a lie about needing space. Space from me, from us, from the quiet dinners where we'd dream about adopting a dog and fixing up a brownstone in the suburbs. Turns out, his space was a dive bar in Queens and a string of bad bets that left him owing money to guys who broke fingers for fun. I lowered the bat not because I trusted him but because part of me, the stupid, aching part, still loved the bastard. "Sit," I said, nodding at the sagging couch. He did, perching on the edge like he might bolt any second. I flicked on the lamp, its yellow bulb casting long shadows that danced like accusations. Up close, he looked wrecked, stubble shadowing his jaw, a fresh bruise blooming purple under his left eye. "Who'd you piss off this time?" "Same crew from the track." Carson rubbed his face, fingers trembling. "Worse. Look, it's not just the gambling. I got mixed up with Tommy's crowd. The ones running protection out of that warehouse in Bushwick." He swallowed hard, glancing at the door like it might burst open. Tommy. The name landed like a slap. Tommy was the reason Carson had pulled away 6 months before he vanished. Late nights at work. Whispers on the phone. The way he'd flinch when I tried to touch him. I'd pieced it together too late. My boyfriend, the graphic designer with the easy laugh and sketches of us as superheroes, had been drifting into shadows I couldn't follow. We'd met 3 years back at a queer art crawl in Williamsburg, the kind where rainbow flags fluttered from every lamppost and the air buzzed with possibility. I was 25, fresh out of Pratt with a portfolio full of dreams and a part-time gig slinging coffee at a spot called the Beanery. Carson was 27, all sharp cheekbones and that mop of auburn hair that begged to be ruffled, hawking his digital prints from a folding table. He caught me staring at his piece. A silhouette of 2 men embracing against a New York skyline, city lights blurring into stars, and grinned. "You get it," he'd said, like we'd just shared a secret. By midnight, we were tangled in a kiss outside a taqueria, the world narrowing to the taste of his mouth and the promise of more. Those early days were fire. Lazy Sundays biking through Prospect Park, his head on my chest as we binge-watched old rom-coms, mocking the straight guy tropes while stealing glances that said "this is us," finally real. He moved in after 6 months, his sketches papering our walls like love letters. We talked future like it was a subway map, easy to navigate if you knew the lines, but cracks spiderwebbed in slow. He'd come home wired, eyes darting, cash slipping from his pockets like sand. "Clients," he'd mutter, but his hands shook when he poured his coffee black. I confronted him once, after finding a wad of bills in his jacket, crisp, too crisp for freelance gigs. Carson, talk to me. We're in this. He'd pulled me close, breath warm against my neck. I am, baby. Just trust me. Trust. The words soured on my tongue now, as he sat across from me, unraveling like cheap yarn. Tell me everything, I said, sinking into the armchair, bat across my lap like a shield. The rain eased to a patter, the city outside humming its indifferent lullaby, sirens wailing distant, a car horn blaring like laughter at a funeral. He started slow, words tumbling like dominoes. The gambling started as a lark, tailgating a Mets game with buddies. A few bucks on the ponies turning into weekends lost at Belmont. Wins fueled the high, losses carved deeper. Tommy entered stage left, a slick operator from Carson's old neighborhood in Astoria, all gold chains and easy loans. He said it was an investment. Quick flips on underground fights, nothing heavy. But it snowballed. Debts piling like snowdrifts, favors turning to threats. The bruise? A reminder from last week, when Carson missed a payment. Tonight, he'd pawned his laptop, our laptop, the one with our vacation photos, and still come up short. Desperate, he'd thought of me. Not to beg forgiveness, but to steal it. Why here? I pressed, though I knew. This was our old place. The one we'd painted sky blue on a whim, arguing over brushstrokes until we collapsed laughing on drop cloths. You could have hit an ATM, a bodega, hell, your sister's place. His eyes met mine, raw and stripped. Because it's you, Jess. You're the only safe thing left. The words gutted me. Safe. I'd been his anchor. The one who held him through panic attacks after his mom died. The one who whispered, I love you, when the world screamed otherwise. Being gay in America wasn't always parades and pride flags. It was the sideways glances at family barbecues, the job interview where you toned down the rainbow pin, the quiet fear that love like ours could shatter under one wrong look. We'd built a fortress here, two guys against the grind, until he let the wolves in. Anger flared hot. Safe? You left me shattered, Carson. Ghosted me after that fight. Said you needed to figure shit out. Then poof. Radio silence. I waited, you know? Checked my phone like a junkie. Drove by your studio praying you'd show. My throat tightened, memories flooding. The empty side of the bed, the half-eaten takeout I'd left for him anyway. The way I'd scroll through our texts at 3 a.m., willing him to call. Betrayal wasn't just him walking out. It was the hole he left. The way I'd questioned every, I love you, wondering if it was ever true. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, voice fracturing. I was ashamed. Tommy. He made me choose. Pay up or lose everything, including you. He knew about us, threatened to out me to my folks, to the whole damn neighborhood. Said he'd make sure you got hurt if I didn't play ball. Lies? Maybe. But the pain in his eyes mirrored mine. Two fractured halves of a whole we'd lost. I wanted to hate him, to call the cops and watch them cuff him like the thief he was. Instead, I crossed the room, knelt before him, our faces inches apart. The same way I'd proposed we move in together, on one knee with a key instead of a ring. What now? I whispered, my hand finding his despite everything. Cool skin against calluses from nights gripping bar stools instead of sketch pads. He cupped my cheek, thumb tracing the scar from a biking wipeout we'd laughed about. I don't deserve this. You. But if you'll let me, I'll fight. For real this time. Rehab, a straight job. Hell. I'll bust tables at the beanery if it means starting over. The climax hit like lightning. A pounding at the door, fists like sledgehammers. Carson, open up, you little shit. We know you're in there. Tommy's voice, gravel and venom, laced with the low growl of two more goons. My blood iced. They'd tracked him. Here, to us. Carson surged up, panic etching his face. Just run back door now. But I grabbed his arm, pulse thundering. No more running. Not from this. I shoved him behind the couch, bat in hand, and cracked the door. 3 shadows loomed. Tommy, bull-necked with a sneer, flanked by meatheads cracking knuckles. Where's the pretty boy? Time to settle up. The fight blurred, bat swinging wild, connecting with a knee that buckled like cheap lumber. A fist glancing my jaw, copper blooming on my tongue. Carson exploded from cover, tackling one guy into the hall table, photos of us crashing like broken vows. Shouts ricocheted, neighbors' doors creaking open to shouts of, Call 911. Tommy lunged, knife flashing, but I drove my elbow into his gut, the blade skittering across linoleum. It ended in a heap. Us panting atop them, sirens wailing closer, the air thick with sweat and surrender. Cops hauled them away in zip ties, Tommy spitting curses about faggot lovers. Carson and I sat on the stoop after, wrapped in a blanket from the paramedics, my split lip stinging under an ice pack. Dawn crept over the brownstones, gilding the puddles like liquid gold. That was stupid? I muttered, leaning into him, the familiar weight of his shoulder grounding me. Brave, he corrected, lacing fingers with mine. Like you always were. We didn't kiss, not yet. Too raw, too soon. But in that quiet, with the city stirring awake around us, I saw it. Not the end, but a bridge. Forgiveness wasn't erasing the hurt. It was choosing to build anyway, brick by aching brick. Weeks blurred into therapy sessions and job hunts. Carson waitering at a diner in Park Slope. Me freelancing illustrations that paid the rent. We didn't jump back into bed. We started with coffee, walks where we unpacked the wreckage. Betrayal scar lingered, a reminder that love in America, for guys like us, was a rebellion. Against fear, against the grind, against giving up. One night, under the same stars we'd once named after each other, he sketched us again. Two figures, not embracing yet, but reaching. Hands outstretched across the divide. It's not a fairy tale. Some days, doubt creeps in like that rain, whispering what if he runs again. But humanism isn't perfection. It's the messy grace of trying. Carson's still here, fighting his demons, and I'm learning to fight mine. Trusting not blindly, but bravely. In this city of a million stories, ours is just one. Two thieves, really stealing second chances from the dark.